This is the Bearded Men of Real Estate show. I'm joined by my co-host, Dan. Say hi, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Colin already with it. These guys again. Yes, it is us. You might notice there's a little bit of different color around Colin's name there because we broke down and bought BeLive. So this is BeLive.tv. We decided to upgrade, so you will no longer see the little swirly thing up. I guess it's up here that normally happens. It says free version. We're no longer the free version. We are paying members.
What?
Is it too early to say what may happen next week? There may be a guest host.
I think you have to say there may or may not be a guest host. Then it leaves
there may not be a guest host next week. One of our less bearded friends joining us. So, and in order to do that, you got to have for BeLive, for those agents out there looking to do this kind of stuff, you have to have like the professional version for the third piece that would be inserted right here, the third frame. So we'll all three be on this thing. So without further ado, if this is the first time for you joining us, the Bearded Men of Real Estate show was created because Dan and I were kind of on the, I guess, behind the scenes, like Facebook Messenger and stuff like that, talking about some of the news stories and what was going on and just trying to keep up to date with what's happening. And we decided, well, this is interesting for us, but why don't we go ahead and make a show out of this and talk about it with other agents and talk about it with consumers that are out there watching it. So that's where the Bearded Men of Real Estate show came from. Colin thinks it's him. He says, fine, I'll grow it out. You keep trying, Colin. Hey, Jackie, how's it going? So thank you guys for joining us throughout the show, just like these guys are showing us. If you will give us some feedback, let us know what you think about the news stories. We have a lot of really fun news stories today, I think. And so just let us know what you think. But without further ado, you ready to get into the show?
Yeah, let's do it. All right. We are in. And Ray, you're up first.
Zuckerberg goes to Washington. Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook's founder and CEO, appeared before the Senate for testimony on Tuesday and will appear again today. The majority of the discussion/grilling revolved around the data and analytics that was gathered by Cambridge Analytica that was supposedly used for political purposes during the presidential election. However, there was some focus on housing. Zuckerberg was asked about Facebook advertising that allows the advertiser to discriminate housing ads based on the protected classes. Senator Cory Booker of Delaware asked a question about the self-certification currently in place that warns advertisers about housing discrimination. He also asked about third-party reviewing and collaborating with other civil rights organizations to audit what companies are doing with housing ads. Zuckerberg said, quote, "Senator, I think that's a very good idea, and we should follow up with the details on that," unquote.
Huh.
Interesting.
So we're just ripping through the headlines again. If you're new to the show, we rip through the headlines so you guys can watch the first chunk and then you can get more info later and come back to us. Mm-hmm. But we're gonna deep dive on this one after. But I think this one's a very interesting for what we all do, and then also I think there's a bigger picture thing here that I wanted to touch on when we get there.
We've got opinions. That's basically what Dan's saying.
It is really weird because
we'll save them to the end.
I never have an opinion on anything, but this one I'm like, Facebook? Oh, opinion.
There you go.
All right. So Zuck goes to Washington. It's also a new screenplay that Ray and I are working on, FYI. That new realtor logo is something else. If you're a realtor, then I know you've heard about this, and I know you've seen pictures of it, and I know you've seen posts on Facebook about it. I don't know why I did the quotes there. The National Association of Realtors updated their look. I have to do air quotes here. Updated their look on Monday for the first time in 45 years since the Nixon administration. The new logo creates a 3D box turned inward with the Realtor R on the side. The words National Association of Realtors is a more modern, plain font without serifs and is lowered to the bottom half of the box and sits on the right side. So if you haven't seen it, I literally just described it. The launch itself, so there's the old one on. Now that's Ray's right, and then Ray's left is the new one. Look at that. Ooh. Wow.
Innovation.
I can't look at it and not laugh. It's so good. All right. The launch itself was a success with much fanfare and glowing articles. But wait. However, agents are letting their voices be heard with a $250,000 price tag. Excuse me. You heard that right. 250 grand. Many agents are complaining about the use of funds by the nonprofit and noting the poor quality of work by the firm Conrad Design Group, a global design company out of New York and London. We're going to deep dive on this more as well. I definitely have an opinion about this.
We just shouted out a design firm for sure. Look at that. On our massive platform, that's going to give hundreds of views.
Hey, we give shout outs good and bad. We got to stick true to us.
There you go. I'm glad they were practical with their budget. Seems like a fair price for an angle change. That's how they do it up there, Colin.
He's being yes, he's being very, very sarcastic.
Okay, Instagram, Facebook, photos spur millennials to become homeowners. They're landing better jobs and higher salaries. They're getting married and having kids, and they're tired of living in their parents' basements. Now, here's another reason millennials are itching to buy a house. They see the photos of homes on Instagram and Facebook that their friends bought, and they think, what about me? This FOMO, or fear of missing out, has become one of the forces spurring many millennials to finally buy a home, according to the Bank of America survey of 2,000 adults early this year.
2,000. I mean, it's nice to, adults. If they're living in their parents' basement, are they really adults?
Yeah, and we were talking about this earlier. How many people are actually living in their parents' basement? Because there's hardly any basements in Arkansas. We don't have that many basements because of water issues. So where do kids live? And it's not the parents' basement.
I've counted the basements in California, and there's 7. There's 7 basements. That's it.
Well, those earthquake shelters aren't really practical underground.
No, and usually those come along attached to a kind of crazy person a little bit. So
that's right. But this is really interesting to me because, as realtors, one of the things we're looking at is what we could do to, encourage people to buy houses on Insta. And basically, according to the survey, if their friends buy and then share photos, then millennials are spurred to purchase based on keeping up with the Joneses, basically.
Yeah. And I made the joke about, if they live in their parents' basements or their parents' extra bedroom, are they really adults? But what's really happening is that, we talk about wage inequality or where have wages come as far as housing prices have gone here, wages have gone here. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily their fault. Not that you can put any blame about that stuff on any one person or one generation, but so maybe it's a little bit more about they're taking a little bit longer to get to that point, to get to that job. And now they're seeing it on Insta and they're like, ooh, that looks fun and I can afford it now. Let's do this. I want to share pictures of my home.
Right. Junior man cave. I love that.
There you go. That's what it is. It's a junior man cave. And I like that it's probably like me when I was 20, still living at home, a little bit stinky, little bit, hair's kind of slovenly. Probably a lot of that going on.
And on that note, March jobs report was a bit soft, and the first quarter GDP growth rate also looks to be weak. So heavy snow in parts of the country and uncertainty related to potential trade war may be, as of now, hindering companies from hiring. Although fewer people worked in construction in March because of unusually cold winter weather, job openings in the construction industry do remain at a historic high. If home builders can readily fill these jobs, the home construction significantly ramps up and thereby brings more housing inventory to the market. Looking ahead, 3% GDP growth does look easily possible in upcoming quarters, with more construction jobs leading to more creations in other segments of the economy.
Yeah, I would guess. Again, I do no research or no preparation for this show, so I'm going to put a guesstimate out there. But I would guess that bad weather and things slows things down because you can't work, you can't hire more people. But when the spring hits and the summer hits, then you can push to build more homes. But we've been talking for months about new construction, and it keeps booming, it keeps going up. So I assume this is not a trend. I think this is more of a one-off thing.
Yep, me too. And in the beginning of the year, we were talking about some of the recovery coming from the hurricanes and that kind of thing, spurring some of the increase. So now it's just maybe kind of back to normal, and people still need labor at affordable rates. That way they can build more. They still need land and materials at affordable rates. So that's the number one problem. Number 1, 2, and 3 problems builders are facing.
One problem with 2 sub problems. All right. Loan officers. This is a big one. Hot button topic. Loan officers should be cautious of Keller Williams. Why, you ask? The National Real Estate Post reported on consumer savings acknowledgement that Keller Williams provides to their clients as part of the Keller Mortgage Zero Plus, stating that the client acknowledges that they, in addition to other mortgage options, have been informed of the thousands in savings potentially available through their program. So just in case you guys don't know, Keller Williams has announced that they're going to have their own mortgage company. So that's where this is coming from. And they're offering tons of savings, thousands in savings potentially available through their program. They claim 0 origination fees, 0 underwriting fees, 0 processing fees, plus $1,000 credit at closing, which is almost likely built into the rate they charge. So that's where I would question it. I'll kind of go into it after I finish. And they provide a chart that shows 3 sample price points with 3 sample price points that allows them to choose from. Keller Williams agents are not directing their clients to use a specific lender, but they are supposedly sharing this sheet with their clients. So
interesting. Yeah, sorry that was so poorly written. I was basically transcribing some of the audios. The National Real Estate Post is a group of 2 lender guys. I'm calling them lender guys because I don't know if they're still full-time lenders and all that kind of stuff. But this is what Collins. There you go. Tim said, I never like fear-based responses. Good LOs will continue to do just fine and will work with Keller Williams agents.
I like that.
Collins said, I want to see the rates. So anyway, these 2 guys are lenders, and they're talking about kind of the potential of someone like Keller Williams coming into their industry and basically giving this sheet to all the agents, giving this sheet to all of their clients, basically saying, hey, make sure you check this stuff out too. He said, has it been verified anywhere? Yes. So if you go to the National Real Estate Post website, you will see the actual document that they're talking about. And the policy that they claim agents should give it. I've not heard of this locally. I don't know if agents are doing that locally here, but it is interesting when a big national company like that takes on, a similar or a what's the term in economics? It's not a vertical. It's like a horizontal company that they can horizontal integration. I guess you could say that they're kind of taking part of that and now integrating it into what they can do. There's going to be some pushback naturally. This reminds me of when home warranty companies were in bed with real estate companies. And when someone said, I don't want a home warranty, then the brokerages were encouraging their agents to give them a home warranty waiver notice that says, you, the buyer, have waived all rights to fix anything in your house ever by someone else, that kind of stuff. This reminds me of that. And that was, done away with because a lot of those real estate companies were getting kickbacks. So now there's far less of that in the market. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. It may push some lenders to not refer to those agents anymore. I don't know if
that would be my question.
Yeah, is it going to have the impact on the lenders to not refer to Keller Williams agents? Is there another main brokerage? And this is where the crowd participation. I'd love, if you know this, I would love for you to mention it.
Well, there's Coldwell Banker.
Do they have a finance wing? I guess that's where banker comes from. I don't know. Do they have a finance?
I don't know if it's this integrated because I have agent friends that work there and they also have their loan, officers, but I don't know if it's this integrated. This seems so, like you said, horizontally integrated. So, but I'm not sure about the logistics with it because I don't know a ton of people that work for Coldwell Banker, so it's not like I have that conversation all the time. But it's already been prevalent, and I have friends that are both lenders and real estate agents. They have both licenses and they close deals that way. So I would question though, because I have a few lender friends that they have a good online presence, so they're pulling their own clients and then disseminating those leads out to different agents. Is this going to completely cut out Keller Williams agents? That would be my first response there.
And now Zillow has a new program that allows loan officers to actually generate leads just like agents do without participating in an agent spend, an agent ad buy. And I think it's called long form or something like that. And so whenever those agents are now generating the leads and are the buyer's first contact, where are they going to send them?
Right.
It's a good question. I don't know that it's going to have a huge impact. It's just, for years, Keller Williams have been renting out a small office space to a lender that they have in-house to make it convenient for people to come in. And it's kind of a one-stop shop type of deal. So they've been doing that for a long time and getting a lot of pushback from the industry because those agents, would kind of be pegged as Keller Williams realtor or Keller Williams lenders when they're not. And there was all kinds of discussion about the marketing services agreement and how it was an inflated rent rate and all that stuff. So I think they're just trying to get out of that. And so you start your own mortgage company and allows you more flexibility in that stuff maybe. But I don't know. It seems like lawsuits waiting to happen.
Yeah, I agree. And because I was with Keller Williams for the first 3 years of my career, and I always loved the culture. I loved everything about it. And they do have in-house lenders there. Some have two different ones, some have one, but it's when you're new, you just you don't really think. You're just like, oh, that's the lender I got to use. But they never really say that. It's never pushed on you that way. It's just they're here if you need anything. And usually because Keller Williams is so big on giving back in regards to knowledge and instruction, that those lenders are doing that same thing as well. So to me, it was invaluable, but it's never really pushed that way. This thing, what I wanted to add as well is for, we do this show, if you're new to it, we do it mainly for realtors, because that's how you say it. You say realtors.
Realtors.
Yeah, or realtors. But there's also some consumer stuff that fits in here as well. I would be, if you are a consumer looking for a loan, I would make sure that you really read these sheets, because it's going to seem really, really amazing up front, but that money has to come from somewhere. And most likely it's either going to go on the back of your loan or onto your rate. So just kind of keep that in mind. Sorry, did I just drop
good summation? You just
I didn't mean, that's weird when I do that. I don't mean to do that.
Colin says he dislikes you. I think you were way too fair and balanced in that last assessment. So maybe
that's so sorry, guys. So sorry. That's so weird. I feel like I blacked out for a second. Am I okay? Wow. Good. All right. So now.
Oh wait. Yeah, it's okay. I changed it around for us. So home buying, the home buying market is brutal, and some buyers are making offers sight unseen. So this spring home buying season should be a coming out party for millennials, many of whom are ready to make a purchase after hunkering down for years with their parents' basements. Again, this is the second article with millennials in basements. Yeah, maybe there should be like a millennials in basements support group, or I wonder if there's a group on Facebook that's like millennials in basements. Anyway. The only problem is much of the food at the party is gone, and what's left is priced like caviar. Although solid job growth and income growth is enabling many prospective home buyers, record low housing supplies has driven up prices and curbing sales, especially for millennials looking to buy starter homes. And this is a quote from Ralph McLaughlin, who's a chief economist for Veritas Urbis Economics. He said, for home buyers, this is shaping up to be one of the most difficult years in recent memory. He studies the market, so he it does say that. It says, chief economist of Veritas Urbis Economics, which studies the housing market. Well, I should hope so.
I hope so. He could have just said, it's real hard out there. It's going to be real difficult.
Holiday Inn Express last night, so I just think it's probably what's going to happen.
Stats and facts. What's up? That's so good.
Go ahead.
Well, we talk about market, and I'm in California, Southern California. I'm in LA, but raised in a different LA, Lower Arkansas. I'm in Los Angeles.
Central Arkansas.
But there is an LA.
There is.
Yes. We'll work it out.
Along with Louisiana, but that's.
Oh boy. So we talk a lot about just home prices and where they're going and where they are, and is there going to be a crash, or is there going to be a plateau, or what? But I think this is all just kind of part of it. And there are future of buyers. There are future homeowners there where the baby boomers are now, where they're looking to sell and maybe right size or sell from California and go to Arizona, or Central Arkansas, which you can just refer them right over to Ray. Then I think they're our future. That's where they're getting now. So I think the market always speaks. If affordability is not there, the market is just going to have to adjust a little bit. So I think this is very a microcosm of that.
I believe the children are our future. So the millennial kids who are now looking on Instagram and Facebook and are trying to buy a house, but they can't afford it. Eventually, I totally agree with what you're saying. Eventually, everything's going to adjust. It'll have to adjust down. Right now, home prices are high. One of the interesting things that we are finding is that even though home prices are high, millennials, they'll put in an offer on one. If the person doesn't accept it, there's a good chance they just go put an offer on another one. So they are traditionally, it seems like they're less choosy, except they're not willing to pay market value. A lot of them want some kind of deal or some kind of steal. And what we have to communicate a lot to our clients is in a seller's market, paying market value for a house you're going to spend the next 5 to 10 years in that you really like is not a bad thing.
Right.
It's, you're paying market value, but you're going to spend 10 years, maybe 5 years of your life there. That's a big deal. And so just get the one you like, and over time it will continue to appreciate. And then I think you'll have great success in the future. But
yeah. And I'm seeing the same things because the headline says that they're making offers sight unseen. I always discourage that in a lot of times in California in the markets, because we have a lot of hot markets. It says you have to see the house, and we say that on our listings. You have to see this house before you offer on it. You can't just send over a blind offer, because honestly, why can't you get out and see the home? Which I'm going to give you my pick of the week, or we'll go through that, but I have a pick of the week that'll help you show homes. Why aren't you showing your clients the property? Why do you have to do it sight unseen? Unless it's a tenant situation or it's very difficult to show, or there's a crazy dog or something. I don't understand why you're not showing them the home. And usually if there's a big demand for that house, they're going to do an open house weekend, like a grand opening weekend. So why aren't you showing them home? Why are you sending over an offer without seeing that home? Because just because you got your offer in first doesn't mean they're going to accept hey, wow, they got it in first. But now you're now the benchmark where that agent can usually use your number to make people push up off of. So I'm more of a wait until 2/3 of the offers are in, see where they're at. And then if you can compete and still be with an appraisal or where the market is, then you compete. So that's always my theory. Little tip and trick from Dan Ludwig.
There you go. Well, and we do the FaceTime showings. We do that kind of stuff a lot, where you're FaceTime somebody in, and so it's not really sight unseen anymore. So there's very little excuse for having not gone through the house some way. Patrick is an inspector here locally. Says that seems like a scary trend. I mean, with everything he sees in houses, especially, but this may also put a lot more emphasis on using a professional inspector, especially if you're buying a home sight unseen. I could see somebody really leaning on Patrick's expertise, saying, "Hey, tell us everything you know about this house, because we've never been in it, we've never seen it." Colin says a virtual tour is finally going to become relevant. Hey, as long as agents actually do a virtual tour and not just upload normal pictures, which that drives me crazy. In 2006, we were doing virtual tours where you had to take a vertical camera shots of like everywhere in the house, and we would stitch them together and everything. And there were two companies, Virtual Tours and Visual Tours. And it was great, and people were loving them. You could walk through the house. But then as the market crashed, agents got lazy and just started uploading a picture. People don't want a picture for a virtual tour. You need to actually be able to walk through the house. Patrick asked a follow-up question. I wonder if the unseen offers leads to killed deals. It could very well happen, especially if the layout doesn't work for someone, because it's really hard to lay out from photos. Yeah. So I could definitely see that happening. Howard,
for sure.
He says, "Thank you, Bearded Men of Real Estate. I have to leave in a few minutes for something else. Enjoyed your show. We'll continue to follow you guys." I mean, what could you leave for?
Why?
It doesn't make sense at all.
Tim,
Sorry, I'm stepping on you. Tim says, I believe 360 tours will become more mainstream as the price continues to go down, easier to do. Yeah, and honestly, whenever you can export a 360 photo and use that as part of your ads and stuff like that, then I think that also increases your engagement because people want to walk through the home. There's not very many people putting their phone on their face and walking around a parking lot, as like, ooh, I'm in the house. But there are some people that do that. Most of the people are just using their finger to kind of click through your house, but I could definitely see where virtual tours could make it come back.
I'm going to touch on all this for my, like I said, for the final thoughts or the pick of the week. But at least what you should do, I'll give you one tip. What you should at least do if you're having, by the way, don't take the picture on your cell phones, even if you have a nice iPhone 10 like Ray does. Don't do that. But when you upload them in an order where someone can kind of feel like they're walking through the home. That's just something that my buyers always want to see. And as far as like not seeing the house and putting that offer out there, if you're an out of area, if you have out of area or out of state clients, you should still be doing the FaceTime. You should still be doing that. Yeah. We had that happen where the husband saw the house, but the wife hadn't. But when we were at that showing and at the inspection, at the showing to make sure she liked it, we had her on FaceTime. So you got to be doing that. They got to see the house before they.
We FaceTime with people locally that they were at work and they're like, well, I can't get off. I'm at work. And we're like, well, this one's going to sell today. So let us call you at lunch or let's call you for 15, take you through the home. We went out to the house and did that. So we've done that too.
Exactly.
Howard says, I have a 360 camera. Didn't like the results. 360 cameras. So I've been slow to adopt some of the recent 360 technologies. We do more of it now, but the previous 360 technologies that the house was pixelated, it really didn't show the house in the best light. And that's the reason why you do it, is because you want the home in a great light. So I totally agree with what Howard's saying. It took us a long time to find something that we kind of landed on that we enjoy and that looks good, that shows the home in the right light, but also has the fun technology. So, and like Dan said, even though you're supposedly leaving for something else in a bit, Howard, Dan is going to cover some of that in the final comments. Be sure to check it out.
Supposedly.
Supposedly. I don't know what else could be more important, but
There's one and a half well-spoken bearded men here, and you're leaving? I don't understand.
He says Nano 360 fits on the iPhone. I like that. If you need to practice. Okay.
Practice. Howard, please don't text and drive. Please don't text and drive. All right. Moving on, because we'll touch on this a little bit more. Weekly mortgage demand drops as home buyers are rattled by the stock market. Oh, gosh. So bitey, these headlines. The spring housing market is in full swing, but wild stock market gyrations may be keeping some potential home buyers at bay. Total mortgage application volume fell 3.3% last week from the previous week, according to the Mortgage Bankers Association's seasonally adjusted report. Despite interest rates holding at their lowest level in 2 months, which is nice, mortgage applications to purchase a home fell 2% for the week, the first decrease in a month. They were still 5% higher than a year ago, which is good. This is a quote from Mike Fratantoni, which we go to this guy a lot. Fratantoni.
Mike.
Yeah, Mike. We're getting to know Mike really well through his quotes. He's the chief economist for the MBA. Potential homebuyers may be a little rattled by the swings in the stock market the past few weeks, but the job market continues to strengthen, which should power demand through the spring season, which we kind of touched on with new construction and hopefully that generating some more jobs. The main uncertainty remains whether enough listings will be available to meet this demand. So what do we always say here, Ray? Get out there and farm. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. No. Get out there and farm. If you have to door knock, if you have to virtually door knock, if you have to door knock through Facebook,
right?
Just get out there and find your listings. Everything we say the past 6 months we've been doing this show is there's not enough inventory, which even before the show, there's been another year and a half before that, there's not enough inventory. Are people really not selling, or are you not getting to them? That's my question to you. Go find those listings.
Yeah, people are always moving, so I feel like it's a lazy excuse for most agents. And sometimes you have to be creative in how you find houses for your buyers, but they're out there. And look at this. So we've talked about being in an international show before. Howard is in Israel.
Nice.
It's 20,000 in the evening.
Degrees? Oh my
Yeah,
God.
no. That's the time over there. That's how they tell time.
Oh, that's I subtract.
He has a coaching session with his coach. So that's
coaching session with his coach.
I guess that's a fine reason to go somewhere else.
Fine.
We'll stop busting you up.
Yeah.
Right,
Thank
so
you for joining us, and we'll see you in features.
Yeah,
we've done enough headlines, I think.
You ready for the deep dive?
Let's do it.
So this is let's talk about Facebook and fair housing.
Let's do that.
So one of the examples they gave in this article, let me see if I can pull up this article. So in the Inman article, they were talking about Mr. Zuck going to Washington. They referenced a current lawsuit with Facebook. Started reading about this lawsuit, and it's this group that claims that Facebook was allowing advertisers to exclude ethnic groups in 2016. So it's ProPublica was a group that did this. A year later, they looked at it again and decided to sue, or I guess the National Fair Housing Alliance decided to sue in connection with those reports. So I clicked on that article and read a lot about this article. Facebook failed to eliminate discriminatory housing ads. So what they have, they call it a self-certification. Okay, so whenever you run a housing ad, if you have a page, the first several times you run the ad, you're going to have to click a button that says you promise not to discriminate, et cetera, et cetera. Okay?
I promise. I won't do that.
I will not. So they wish, let me figure out, I got to figure out how to show you this. I'm going to turn my camera. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to turn this around. Please
let's take the ride with Ray. Oh,
okay. So this is an example of an ad that they say violates fair housing. Okay, they're creating an ad based on geography, as you can see the pockets that this person wants to target. Okay. Yes. Then down here, it says, they're discriminating. They want parents with preteens, 8 to 12 years old, parents with early school age children, likely to move, moms of preschool kids, moms of school age kids. And they're saying, being able to do this breaks the fair housing rules. Right. And then when you look right here, it says your estimated audience is too small. So they wouldn't actually allow this ad. If you know anything about Facebook advertising, whenever you get hey, your audience is too small, most of the time they don't even allow you to run that ad. So they're saying this ad is being allowed, but by their own screenshot, it's not allowed. So that's beside the point.
That's funny to me.
Yeah, I thought that was funny too. So that was the best.
They're saying they're allowing any type of ad to go out there. You could discriminate. Yeah. But on this screenshot, it says you can't run this ad. Okay, cool. Got it.
It said the ad targeting options that are available on Facebook, according to the lawsuit by the National Fair Housing Alliance. So this is really interesting to me because, if you have a home, which would be more apropos for someone who likes tennis, right? Well, you could target based on people that like tennis, but because you're targeting based on that affinity, are you disproportionately targeting white people? And now because of that, you're excluding people of other races, or because it has a daggum tennis court, is this something that you can do? What do you think, Dan?
Well, here's where I want to start with, and then I'll get to that, is these Facebook ads, I think a lot of times Facebook we think it's a little, we don't think it as big as it is because it's just us, right? Sitting here on our computer or staring at our phone like a zombie. And that's our little world, but it's got, I don't know, I think more people than there are on the planet are on Facebook. Is that possible? I think there's 8 billion people on Facebook, but there's only 7.5 billion on the planet, I think. Anyway, again, no research with what I say or any of my beliefs. So I think a lot of times you can do Facebook advertising, but it's so big, they don't know kind of where, hey, we did this new thing. You can now advertise listings. You can now advertise for buyers. I think a lot of times they got to wait to see what happens and then kind of fix it as they go. They can't try to predict everything that's going to happen. So I think that's happening a little bit here. But is it really?
Colin asked a good question while you're on that.
Yeah.
Is it how are they going to know? So this is why it relates back to the Senate testimony that Zuck just talked about when Cory, what's his name? Cory Booker asked the question about discrimination policies and allowing third-party civil rights groups to audit. So if a third-party civil rights group audits Colin's Facebook ads and they find there's some discrimination there, now Colin has a fair housing lawsuit, which is not going to look good on his resume.
Yeah. And so this is kind of two sides of this coin. Is obviously we want help and we want to make sure we are not discriminating in, or breaking the Fair Housing Act, the Fair Housing laws, right? But so I would love some guidance or guidelines along those lines. But if the house has a tennis court and I advertise to people who want a tennis court, that's where I would like, who is the
he doesn't want a lawsuit.
Yeah. Wait, who's Pretty Mouth? I don't know.
I think it's mine, obviously.
Okay. So if I'm advertising to people who might like tennis, I don't know. And I'm not saying either way who likes or doesn't like tennis. I don't know.
Right.
But the house has a tennis court and I want those people to look at it because it's very, very specific, right? Not a lot of houses have tennis courts. It's targeted. So, and around here, there's a lot of horse property. So if I want to have a listing, or if I have a listing with horse property, I want to target people who are like equestrian events.
Right.
How can I say that it's going to be this or that? I just want people that like horses to look at this house. That's it. So that's where I think
basement thing. Okay.
Yeah.
You have a guy turned his basement into a man cave.
Yeah.
An incredible man cave. You run an ad and you target dudes. And maybe there was like 6 televisions that looked like a daggum ESPN bar down there, right?
Yeah.
So you target guys that like ESPN, sports, all kinds of stuff. And you lead with that feature photo of this guy's man cave.
Yeah.
And your ad says, dudes. Like,
right.
So is that a fair housing violation? Because you are thereby making, this is the argument based in the lawsuit. Okay. You're now making this property unavailable to someone who is a single female or it's a discrimination against protected class.
But are you making it unavailable? You're not advertising to them. The ad is still going to be there. It's just going to target.
If you launch the ad through the Facebook's ad section and it's not a post on your Facebook page, then yes, you are literally excluding everyone else except that target audience.
Or are you just including that target audience? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because if I have a product, right, if I sell fishing reels for a fishing pole, I'm going to target, I'm just advertising a product. My house, my man cave, my fishing reel, my football, my eyelashes, what are my fake nails, whatever it is, I'm going to target an audience.
Right.
But is it because it's houses, it's different, but it's still, I'm selling a product. I'm not saying, I have a friend that she fishes and she loves it. Like she wants to be a pro. Like, am I saying I don't want her to come by this reel? No. I'm just targeting to where the mass audiences is. Like that's where I would love the guidelines to let us know here, stay within these guidelines, stay within these rails here. But to give someone the power to just randomly audit our ads, I think that's a little too far. Who are they and what power do they have,
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Like, so if they do find a violation, is that going to go on Facebook for allowing agents to violate that ad, or is that going to come back on me, the agent, for maybe? But
you clicked a button. Yeah, you clicked a button.
Said I don't want to specify. So I just posted in the comments the link to the Inman article about the lawsuit, so that you guys can kind of read that yourself. As agents, you need to know this stuff. Politics is annoying to me. I mean, I cannot stand politics, especially when it's this kind of stuff, especially when there is an MLS that is now being fed almost everywhere. It goes right now. If you list something in the MLS in Arkansas, it goes to 79 different syndicated websites and then thousands of other websites, unless you, the broker, choose to restrict it. So because it's available out there, then how is specifying a target ad based on a target audience discriminating? That's the question. And should I now have to advertise all properties, not just properties I represent? Because, hey, if I'm not advertising all properties, and there's some properties that I'm not making available.
Because that's already a thing. You are bound ethically to show your clients all properties, not just pixel properties. You have to show everybody. So now are you going to advertise all properties? And then where do we go from there? Are the actual listing agents going to be mad because I have to advertise their property? I mean, it's a whole thing. It's a wormhole. So
I got a feeling this is not true, but I'm just going to put that on there. Just ran an ad. Hispanics love this. No. That is probably not. That's probably not true, but it probably is a fair housing violation.
but the teary face. Oh, it's so good.
Colin said that women have proven higher interaction rate with ads. Well, that depends on the ad, because I've ran ads that have a much higher interaction than men. So it really depends on the ad itself. And he says, I'm going to pay to run effective ads. I shouldn't have to devalue my spend just to include weak audiences. And that's the key. The more you target your audience, then the more specific, the better for the seller. Or is it because you're excluding these people that may want to buy it? Right.
Maybe they don't like tennis, but they wouldn't mind having a tennis court. Maybe they'll.
Colin also asked, so financial discrimination, is that a thing now? Trying to find clients that can afford a loan or need to sell. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So that's what I brought up before we went live. Here, go with Tim Macy's quote. He's so smart, so weird.
He says, so you can target based on interest. That should still give us plenty of tools to target. Well, can you target based on interest?
But wait,
because there used to be something called ethnic affinity, and they had different ethnic affinity segments. And so there's ethnic interest currently as an option. So there are some interest that you cannot target and be compliant with fair housing. And then he said the female interaction has more to do with Colin, probably. And Colin agrees. Maybe the higher interaction rate of men with you and with women is telling about. That's right. That's true. I mean, okay.
So again, I have to be able to advertise a product. And
or
if there are guidelines,
you've listed it in the MLS. Isn't that enough?
No. It's just not, which we've gotten into before. But overall, because I want to get into one more thing, but won't this create a precedent? So Patrick Ellis says, won't this create he's way more than just inspections. Won't this create a precedent for all ads on all? So all media. So he finishes. So what do you think he means there, Ray?
Basically, he's saying if in the housing regulations it doesn't allow for those specifics, right? Those targeting ads based on the fair housing rules, then is that also going to create restrictions in other advertising venues? I don't know that it is. There's not, I know lending, I know housing. There's certain things that are regulated by fair housing, obviously, but there's a lot of things out there that are not. And so that, someone marketing their new nails to women is probably still available and fine.
Right.
Someone marketing.
But I know plenty of dudes that want those nails. So
LA, y'all.
not Lower Arkansas.
Not Lower Arkansas.
But I wanted to ask, so we're talking about target ads and what if you have a home like we have? I think I brought it up last week. We have programs here. The house has to qualify for the 1% down. The house. So I want to do an ad for people looking to put 1% down. Is that income discrimination? Because you have to only make so much. If you make too much money, you can't qualify for that 1%, and the house has to qualify for it. And I know Colin. Yeah. He often looks for people that want to go the USDA loans, which is often, I think it is 0% down. So he's not saying he doesn't want someone that makes $500,000 a year. He's just saying this house specifically may not be for you. So, and we're just throwing ads out there to say we're trying to comb the waters for as many people to look at this house as possible. That's where it gets to be too
I'm not an
finite.
attorney, okay? My understanding of
Okay.
it is that you can target like lower income, right? I could target low income families, low income for a USDA program, 100% financing, okay? I can target that. What I can't do is target someone that is in a higher income bracket based on the disproportionate affinity for certain ethnicities in that income bracket. So if you have a luxury home, you just need to put it out there for everybody, apparently, maybe. So this is where somebody in fair housing, man, I would love for somebody in fair housing to comment on here. And
yeah. And not, I wouldn't want them to be all
the
lawyery.
definition of discrimination, right? Wait, let me put this up there so y'all can see it too. Religion, creed, race, color and sex, I think, are the others. Income isn't on that list, but income is what they were using to do the redlining, which we all know that redlining's been outlawed. Income-based discrimination is what bankers were supposedly using before the Dodd-Frank stuff started being put in place. So you're right, the income is not a protected class. However, we're making one more leap. We're making one more step to say I could see where if a civic group, or what do they call them? It's not a civic group. One of those rights groups, civil rights groups, is auditing.
You were close, just off by a letter.
That they could say, well, that's what you're using. Although you're not coming out and saying it, this is what you're using to discriminate and target. So there's certain neighborhoods that we target more often than others. Do I need to like look at the racial makeup of those groups? Do I need to look at the gender makeup of, do I need to start paying attention to those demographics, making sure that we're advertising fairly across the board? I mean, this opens up a whole nother can of worms.
Because a lot of times with our ads, I just do a radius. I want 5 miles out. I want whatever. I'm not going to break it down. Sometimes we'll break down. You can get closer, but am I really going to go through neighborhood to neighborhood? Mm-hmm. I just want people to come to my open houses and buy the house. Right. That's a good question.
Yep, I like this. Fair housing laws are different than other discrimination laws. Correct, Ray? Why are you asking me, dude? I don't know. No, I mean, I know there are some differences, but I don't know the exact differences. So I just remember what we did when we went through the class about the fair housing stuff. And Colin said, oh, go ahead.
I just want to say one final thing on it, which if Colin's saying something else, it won't be the final thing because he's so adorable. But I would rather it be more, if there are some audits or some people looking at our ads, I would love it to be more of a, here's where you are with your ads, here's where you need to be, not you did this thing and now you're getting sued. Like, whoa. Because this is all new to all of us. This technology often dictates. I think we talked about it 2 or 3 shows ago when we talked about the 3D printing of homes. That's going to open up a lot of cans of worms for zoning and for building laws and stuff like that. So this is another thing where we just kind of got to get there. It's all new. The laws have to catch up with it, but don't restrict us on. We're trying to sell a product here.
So Colin said, this idea is about as good as our new logo. Speaking of logo,
I told you he was heavy with the sarcasm.
Fantastic transitional phrase. So the new Realtor logo.
Whoa.
Wait, we don't have to. It's just a second topic in the thing.
We're still in the deep dive. Okay, sorry, that one went so long. I just want to do that.
It was a good discussion, though. Okay, I'm gonna make this big screen so I can show you guys. That way, I don't have to flip this camera around. So this is the old logo is closer to Dan. The new logo is on the opposite side. So you've got looks like a box, a 3D box of something. I feel like it's a cereal box. That's what it reminds me of. So
they just put it on a box.
$250,000.
They just put it on a box. I was trying to not do this, but I can't help it. They just put it on a box.
Shoot, they also changed the font.
Oh my god! Oh geez, so they hit the bold button.
They did. They have it's no serifs on the font on the new font.
Oh my gosh.
See, that's the old font, and that looks, oh my goodness, that's so old looking.
Yeah, and then they made realtors blue too.
And that's the new one. Obviously better. $250,000.
Oh my God, I can't believe it.
So Eli says my son made a logo on Minecraft.
So by the way, if you live in a hole, you don't know what Minecraft is. It is purposely made to look like 8-bit games from the 80s. Yeah. It's purposely made to look old and bad, and that's kind of the charm of it. So that joke goes deeper than you think.
Brand evolution.
Oh my gosh.
And then Tim says the real problem is that NAR thinks we care about their brand recognition.
Very good point.
Interesting. So Tim,
very fun point.
Why do you pay them? Do you're a realtor, right? I'm in a transaction right now, almost went. I'm in a transaction right now with someone that is a real estate agent. They're not a realtor. And so I got to figure out how to open the door for them.
Yeah.
So our new logo, so is our new logo old and bad. Yeah. So what are your, so you're, a lot of people may not know this, but Dan is actually a graphic designer, which is why he loves the logo so much.
Yeah. So I do a lot of marketing and creation on our marketing stuff.
Yeah. So as a creative, what do you think of this amazing logo?
I think my laughing hysterically says it all, but so I'm going to touch on the 250 grand part later, because that's such a really this one thing costs $250,000, but it's not just a one thing. But so first of all, why are they changed? Why did all of a sudden after 45 years did they go to, we got to change the R? We got to change the R 45 years later. If any time to change it, it would have been when the housing market was crazy 15 years ago. And we had that recognition, because like Tim says, no one is like, gosh, I don't think I want to work with them unless they're a realtor and not just a salesperson. I don't know, and I think the days of, you wear your name tag that would say, whatever your brokerage is and your name on it, and then your little realtor pin. I think those days are long gone. I don't see as many people wearing tags, but still some. I don't see anybody with the realtor pin anymore. Maybe they put it in their email signature, but I don't see that anymore. So as far as brand recognition and me saying I'm a realtor, my clients just want to know if I can help them buy or sell a house. Like they don't ask, are you a realtor? And do you have the updated logo on your card? Dan, please tell me yes. So I think what Tim says there is we're not concerned about their branding, and them thinking this is a big change, I think is very archaic in their thinking. So Tim says we pay them so they can get a new logo, so they can try to stay relevant. So we'll continue to pay them. It's a circle. It's circular. It just keeps going around. Yeah.
Leslie just said this is an epidemic. Remax just did a similar study, spent an obscene amount of money to make a basic logo that was more appealing to millennials. But is it more appealing to millennials? I don't see that is any more appealing to millennials. Most millennials don't even know what a realtor and a real estate agent, they don't even know the difference, or a realtor for that matter.
Yeah, they want to know, how much presence do you have on Instagram, and do you have the proper haircut? Like, do you have the cool look and all that stuff? And then do your interests align with mine? I don't want to discriminate, but that's usually what it's all about. I find that a lot.
He just wants to know if the new logo will finally hit the corner of the screen. The screensaver.
Wait. Two things. That's just funny, because if you remember when DVDs would go to sleep mode, it would bounce around and it would never hit the corner. DirecTV used to do it too. But the other thing I think is funny is, and then it would just, it's not going to, The other thing that's
satisfying.
I think it's very funny to think that Colin has the Realtor R as his screensaver.
Everybody in that office does. What's funny is they haven't even changed their Facebook logo. like they announced the huge logo launch, and their Facebook logo is still the old realtor logo. And not only that, it looks like, if you look at the Facebook logo, that's a flat branded blue logo with a letter in the middle that apparently appeals to millennials, right? So why, it's like them making a so if you go anywhere on the internet and you type in Facebook icons because you want to put one in your signature, type in Facebook 3D icons. You'll see this logo, but it just has a big F on it. And then you'll see a Twitter version, and it's the same thing. So it was a lazy play. They did a terrible job.
So
let's see. Brokers and NAR should realize that no one cares about them. Help agents and that's who people care about. That's true, but they have this huge monopoly over us because now you can't even open a door if you're not a realtor, because you had the super thing. You get the super thing. You got to be a member of the board. Be a member of the board. You got to be a realtor.
Yeah. You know what I'm going to say on this? Oh, here we go.
Jacob said, I've seen several posts and threads on this. Many top marketing branding firms charge similar amounts. Much of the money was spent on focus groups testing. I'm in the wrong business. Yes.
FML.
This millennial could care less. Millennials care about the people they're working with, not the brand.
Right, more like interests.
I'm definitely going to put that comment up there.
That has to go up there. So that's what I was going to say about the budget. The 250 grand is easy to say, silly new logo cost 250 grand. It didn't. There was focus groups and this and that and back and forth. I don't think it cost 250 grand. I don't think it should have cost 50 grand. 250 grand is still a lot to me. So it's more of a bigger thing. And then with a national company like that, you got to have the push out and the release and the launch and all that stuff. So the 250 grand could be spent really, really quickly. It could have been easily, $1.25 million really quickly. So that part doesn't bug me, but it is easy to see a new logo. By the way, what I wanted to say is, remember when, I don't know the year, Ray, you'll know. But remember when it was, I think early 2000s when the trend for movies for, big picture, big screen movies, everything had to be 3D. Like even, the Notebook was in 3D. Everything was in 3D, but that was 15 years ago. And now we did a 3D logo.
They called it Web 2.0. That's what they called it, because the Web 1.0 was flat and like bits. So Web 2.0 was 3D. That was like the big thing. Okay, so I'm going to post this in the comments.
I'm
going to post a link to the actual post for the NAR. So, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. So I just posted a link there. What's that?
One more comment on it, because we have a mutual friend that reached out to the National Association of Realtors and he got a response. So not only do you get this brand new amazing logo that you'll have to pay for new cards now.
Oh, yes.
But he didn't say that now you're required to put this new logo. They just asked that when you do new marketing and you're about to pay for your new cards or your new signs or whatever, then you put it on there. That's what they're asking. I don't even know if it's a requirement, but here's what you get. You ready? They're going to send everyone a new pin. So
a new pin, not a new lapel pin to wear on your lapel that no one wears anymore.
I don't have a lapel. I don't even own what would have a lapel on it, but I'm going to get a new pin for free. So that's what mine is. I wanted to say one more thing too. Hey, stop spending my money on silly logos and protect me from big companies coming and taking auditing my stuff. Do that. Protect me from that stuff. Don't give me a new silly logo. Do that.
And there's a ton of great comments. If you're listening to this later, be sure to check those out. So Colin says a great R&D group serves lobster, eating lobster and waiting for the logo to hit the corner of the screen. So I posted a link to the actual thing, the actual post on there, and I'll read. Let me go back to that.
I can't. Don't show it anymore because I'm gonna laugh too much. I can't do it.
Okay, I want to read my comments on it. So it doesn't. Yes. So what's interesting to me is I don't care about the logo that much. What bothers me is I feel like they did it wrong, and I just feel like they weren't thinking. For instance, they have a 3D, right? So I said, number one, this will not look good on black and white paper copies, because there's no grayscale shading, and that's what most of our contracts are around the country. You have to put this logo on there, and it's going to look like an R with a weird black flag because there's not going to be any grayscale shading. Number two, I said 3D logos were very 2006, Web 2.0, pre-real estate crash. It's not modern. Modern is flat. You can attest to that with a lot of your design work I've seen. Number three, I don't think a single agent in the country thought the reason why our brand was, as the National Association of Realtors was struggling, was due to a logo. And then finally, number 4, your members should vote on these things. We're all members of this. We pay into it. So why don't they say, hey, here's a couple of logos we're considering. Y'all vote on it. And they could have done like a contest. This was the other part of my a comment. They could have done a contest with an agent, and they could have awarded money to that agent and their charity of choice, like matching funds, right? Like here's $50,000 for you, the agent, $50,000 for a charity of your choice. Submit all of your logos. We'll pick the top 10. Everyone will vote. And then you have a really great, simple, flat, one color logo, updated our look and saved $150,000. Meanwhile, you did some good. You give an agent who's a paying member $50K. You also donate to a charity $50K. So it just bothered me that it wasn't done completely correctly.
Because it's kind of biting them, and it's got a backlash to it. They could have made like you're saying, a whole thing about it. It could have made it an us thing. And then those of us who don't really think about, well, is the realtor logo helping me, or is the realtor brand helping me? Which I don't think about that. I never have until this. So maybe it's good we're talking about it, I guess. But it could have been more of an inclusive thing, and we could have it was our decision, not just they did. And I also think not only did they miss out on that opportunity, it's kind of being publicized, like almost like, oh, whoa, this got out there way farther than we wanted. Their launch wasn't planned correctly either.
Yep, that's it. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, they had comments. Bill, I always said Bill Goldberg, which is a professional wrestler. Bob Goldberg, which is the president, did release a comment saying that they're listening and they're receiving a lot of feedback. So if you do or don't like the logo, click on that link. Let them know what you think. I mean, I don't know if they'll ever change it at this point. I don't know if they'll go. I could actually see them going back and say, hey, we didn't realize so many of you love the old logo. We're just going to go back to it. But then they've. Hold on a second. Yeah. While he's doing that, I have no idea where he's going. But then they've totally wasted $200,000 unless they maybe can get their money back. I'm not real sure. Waiting on Dan. Where'd he go? Did you print it?
Hold on. Sorry, I can't hear you. What's going on?
Did you print it? Oh,
so that's black and white. Can you see that? So
that's still grayscale though. That's still grayscale.
So that's grayscale. So it's got the darkers there. But if you didn't have that, it's just going to all be one weird, oddly.
Like a weird.
It's going to be a trapezoid, not even a parallelogram. It's not.
Tim says they've never gotten such a unified response on anything. That is so true. Patrick Hill said, if they let members vote, it could be perceived as losing control, which is true. However, ultimately,
we pay them.
And then we pay them. So
yeah.
You could just read that one. Jacob's having a fun time.
Holy moly, you're all wrong. I just smoked it. Oh, I didn't see it.
Let's see. Eli. Oh, wait. Let me go back. All right. We'll do these the right way. An entire pin. Holy moly.
Yeah. Is it 3D?
It is 3D.
It is.
Don't want to poke an eye out. Tim said, Eli, it will be a cube. You could pin. That would be pretty. It's like a 3D cube that you pin to your.
Oh my God.
Jackie said so you have to wear one on each side of your shirt. Terrible.
This is
terrible. So I totally agree with Tim. I think this is a great way to surmise it.
Yeah.
We are paying members. There's a whole bunch of people that don't like this thing. So let them know it. Just go back. It's not necessary. It's not needed. See if they can get a refund. Maybe just pay for a couple of focus groups and stuff. Give them half the money. And let them go away. Crazy. All right. So are you ready for the pick of the week?
Yeah, I am not really ready to move on. I want to laugh about this forever, but yes, I'm ready to move on. You ready?
Yep.
All right.
So Dan, now what is this pick of the week that you have here?
By the way, technically these are final thoughts pick of the week, so I could still talk about that silly logo if I wanted to, but
final thought on it.
Pick of the week. And I think it's really amazing that our discussion earlier went to what did Colin say there?
When you power up your realtor logo, the Windows 2000 sound will play.
Dude, Oh my gosh. We could go on for days with these jokes. Like,
I love it.
Yeah. You get your new realtor pin and a copy of Sharknado 3D.
That's awesome.
I could go on for days. Okay. So I think it was awesome. Our discussion earlier, we're talking about, I don't know which discussion that went this way, but it went towards pictures on homes and virtual tours.
Gotcha.
So I didn't plan it, but my pick of the week, there's a product out there called Matterport. Oh, and it's 3D virtual tours is what it is. And not only do you get the kind of walkthrough of the home, which we've looked through a bunch of them, they're really fluid. It's kind of like, Google Maps when you can click on the next house and it'll transfer you over there. It's like that. So you feel like you're walking through the flow of the home, but you also get, when you see some listings, they have that top down, like here's your layout, here's your 3 bedrooms, here's your living room, here's your.
Sorry, it's there. I thought they were going to show Matterport, but hang on, let me get there. Can you see it at all? I can't see what I'm doing because it's a big screen.
There you go. Yeah, that right there. That's what I was about to talk about. So not only does it give you the 3D walkthrough, so you feel like you're in the home, it gives you that right there, the 3D kind of view of the home. So it's not just the top down thing. You can see, if it's a 2-story, you can see where the bedrooms are laid out upstairs and all that stuff. So, and this is a product. So the Matterport is the actual product that shoots the house and does the 3D. Yeah, see, Ray's doing the walkthrough right now. It's really fluid. That is stitched together really well. What we've seen, it's stitched together really well. So it feels like you're walking through the home. So I wanted to put this out here because not only does it give you the 3D tour, but it also gives you that kind of 3D model of the inside of the home so your clients can get a really good feel. Now, think about this. So there's 2 parts to this, why I wanted to bring this up. Think about it for, your clients if you're on the – so if you're on the buy side, let's go with the buy side first. And now you're not going to necessarily pay for this on a listing that's not yours. But what if every listing had this and you could send them your clients or send them to a website? You'd be sending them to someone else's website, right? But every house would have this, and then you can help them walk through the home. So I think it would be invaluable. And then on the listing side, which I think it's more important on the listing side with things like Purple Bricks and Zillow, trying to sell houses for nothing and all this stuff. I think this is another tool to add. And we looked into it. I think it's $200 or $250 to get that 3D model and then the actual walkthrough of the home. Mm-hmm. And then for another $15 per, you could pay, I think, I don't know how, $24 a month if you do a lot of listings with these, or $15 each. And this is local stuff, so I don't know if this is nationwide, but you can pay $15 a listing and you get its own. So it's www.123mainstreet.com. And then you drive them to that website with your ethnically charged focused ads. And you drive them to that website and and then they get to take the virtual tour. So that's another thing that you can add to create yourself, to give yourself more value to those consumers that are trying to go with Purple Bricks, which they might sound good, but remember, Purple Bricks, you still got to pay the buyer side. You have to pay that $32.95 no matter if the house sells or not. And a lot of times if they're not marketing your home properly and pricing it wrong, it's not going to sell. You have to pay $3,200 for it to not sell. So you just got to be careful out there. So I just think this is a great product and really will help add value to what we do as our, kind of concierge realtor services.
This is a great question. Eli asks, so our MLS is kick-ass here in Houston. Zillow is not very relevant in our market. Because of this, the 3D tour cannot be put in our MLS. How do I drive people to this 3D tour? So if you have a blog, you can actually embed the Matterport 3D tours on your blog or webpage, and then you can use a Facebook ad to then drive the traffic to that. You could also use a Google ad. And so there's a cost to create the content, which is the 3D tour. There's also a cost to distribute the content through the targeted ads and that kind of thing. You could also theoretically create a bit.ly link or some kind of shortened link, and then put that in your Zillow description, or put that in the description of your property in the MLS. Usually they have a branded and an unbranded version of these virtual tours. So if you put the unbranded version, usually your MLS does not have a problem with that. But I'm surprised that they don't have something that says like virtual tour. Like our MLS in Arkansas has a link that says virtual tour on it. So
yeah, we have that as well. Yeah, in an age where iPhones do your 360 shots, you can do it. Just the Facebook app will let you do a 360 shot and it'll stitch it together. I think this helps your relevance out there in the markets. I really do. So I think this is a big one.
Yeah, and it looks to me like I'm frozen. There, maybe I'm froze. Okay, so my pick of the week. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
On the heels of the new Realtor logo, my pick of the week is Fiverr.
Yes. So, for $5.
Right. For $5, you can have a logo or graphic created by someone all around the world. All you have to do is tell them exactly what you want. They'll do. A lot of them have unlimited revisions, so you eventually get the logo you want. You could do a animated logo. You could do. So usually Fiverr costs $5. That's where it comes from. However, some of the more experienced professionals on there, because now they're starting to increase their price, like real graphics designers, quote unquote, instead of these graphic design houses. There are real graphics designers now that are putting their work on there, and you could hire someone for $50 or $100 to do a design for you. So Fiverr.com, which is still
really affordable, by the way.
It's super affordable. Normally it's like $400 or $500 just for a concept, right? So Fiverr.com, or you could go to Logo Arena, which is also a great place to go, and people will bid for your work. You can say, hey, I want to put $250,000 to the person that creates the best logo, and you will get a ton. I mean, for that, you will get so many logos to focus group and to ask people about that it would be insane. And so you would put that out there. They would send you all of these options. You could vote on the best option and then select one of them, get a couple of revisions of it if you need to, especially for $250K. So Logo Arena and Fiverr, if you're looking for a logo, don't hire a big shot firm in New York and London. Find you a real professional freelance graphic designer who's in touch. And also when you do the focus groups, try to go out of your own echo chamber. Don't kind of be asking the same people who would normally be asking and making the decisions. Ask maybe like, let's say you have a giant organization, and part of that giant organization has members, and in those members, they may have opinions. It's a good idea to ask them.
Good idea, especially if they're paying members.
Yeah. So
and also maybe don't ask a lot of lapel pin having.
if they have lapels, don't ask.
Yeah. Right.
Jeez.
So on that,
terrible disappointment.
horrible disappointment.
It's like GT. We will let you guys go. Thanks so much for joining us, and thanks for all the feedback. We really, really love the discussion. It makes it a lot more fun for us. But Fiverr, but can Fiverr make a 45-year-old brand relevant? Can they do that for less than $250K? Let's be real. Well, I think I'd give them a shot. If it only cost you $5, then you could say, well, the budget was $250,000 and $5 because we wasted $5 on Fiverr. It didn't work.
Didn't work.
I think everybody would say, well, at least they tried.
I'd be curious to see that budget breakdown, by the way. How much was for the actual logo on the work? $80, $150? Like, I'd be curious to see what that was.
Not much. All right. Well, thanks again, guys, for joining us. If you have any questions, or if there's a news story we didn't talk about this week that you want us to talk about next week, let us know. And keep in mind, next week, we will probably most likely have a nearly bearded special guest. So be sure to join us.
To be bearded.
Right. It'll be Wednesday morning, depending on your time zone, anywhere from 9:30 to 11:30 to 12:30. So thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you guys later.
Thanks, guys.